This bike is an absolute beast. And I said in the title thumbnail that it's completely illegal, and I guess let me explain why I said that. Some bikes, I would say, they have an off-road mode. I would say this bike is kind of the opposite. It has a legal mode, but most of the time you're not going to use it that way. First off, I got to address the elephant in the room, which is a literal weight problem. The fact that this thing is 150 pounds. This is one heavy bike. Most bike racks cannot handle this thing. The battery is 52 volts, 60 amp hours. That's over 3 kilowatt hours. It is absolutely massive, but even with that battery removed, this thing is still heavy. And it has a ridiculously large battery. You're thinking, oh, they must have done that for range. And yes, they did, but also to handle the insane power system. They advertised this as a 3,000 watt e-bike, and they did it by installing not one big, powerful 1,500 watt hub motor, but two, yeah, it's all-wheel drive, big, beefy fork to handle the front motor here. It actually has some really thick disc brakes. It's actually kind of cool. These are 4-piston hydraulic brakes, and then the pads have these heat sinks on them to keep them cool, both front and rear. That might seem like a gimmicky thing, but like heat sinks on pads is a real thing. Those probably actually do help. It does have, though, I gotta add, a compression adjustment. And then, because you gotta have everything on a bike like this, it does have a coilover shock in the rear, so full suspension. Oh, this is actually a shock from Fast Ace. That's actually a pretty good company for suspension. And we got a little dial for adjustment. I might have to play with that and see where a good setting is for me. This is one of the beefiest, most sturdy kickstands I've ever seen. I don't really know what the point of this little hole pattern is right here, but this is just, it's so incredibly long, and it's not like, there's no plastic on it like some kickstands. This thing actually feels like it's gonna hold the bike up, and they needed that. I bet they broke several kickstands before they made this thing. And now I gotta ride it and see how much I like it. I'm already gonna say that it's fun because just riding up and down the road, I did a quick little test and I know it goes really fast. The speedometer is like spot on accurate. So whatever's on the screen is what I'm actually doing. So I think I should start out there. Let me show you how to get it in the highest power setting and let's see how fast it goes. So if I turn on the display, Eahora, you have 5 pedal assist settings, and those do affect the throttle. So that's gonna change how much power. But I didn't notice this at first. I had to fiddle around with things till I figured out how to get it in the highest power setting. See that little tiny bicycle right there? Yeah, that red thing is just the rear wheel. Push it again. We can do just front wheel drive. You press it again, both wheels turn red. Now it's all-wheel drive. Press it one more time. Now they turn dark, angry red, and we get the full power out of this thing, which I already did a dyno run. I'll show you that in a little bit, but let's see how fast this thing will actually go. It's like they programmed in a soft start. I'm gonna do that again, because here it is from a stop. Definitely feel it ramping up. When you get to like 9 miles an hour, it really starts moving though. 32, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. That's faster than I thought. Come on, 42. I'm gonna admit, one, I should have brought some glasses because of the wind in my eyes. But two, I did not think it was gonna go that fast. I ran out of room. Just when I thought it was gonna stop accelerating, it just kept eking out a little bit more. So confirmed on a basically full battery, I'm sitting at 93%. I just got 42 miles an hour. It might go a hair more. So I'm gonna do a run the opposite way. But this thing is, that's fast. All right, 30, 35, 40, 42, 43, 44, 45, 45 miles an hour. Whew. Okay, this is faster than I thought. It's not gonna go 45 the whole way. Also might not hit that depending on your weight. I'm about 150 pounds. Oh, this thing's really stable. But I think I could safely say through most of the battery, because this battery is huge, the voltage drop is gonna be minimal. This thing's a 40-mile-an-hour bike all day long. I probably should have grabbed something better than a bicycle helmet to ride this thing. I knew the GOAT bike did over 40 and I wore my motorcycle helmet. I knew this thing was 3,000 watts. I just thought with dual hub motors, it was gonna be like a torquey bike. I wasn't expecting the speed. The light has a built-in sensor, so it turns on as the sun goes down and I hit the shade. $3,099. So I hope this is gonna work because this is a dual motor bike. I can only test one wheel at a time. And the settings, it only allows me to use the highest power setting when both motors are on. So what I'm gonna do is get a baseline with just the rear motor on, because that's an option on the screen. And then I'm gonna turn it to the high power setting, unplug the front motor, cross my fingers that it doesn't throw an error, and then it'll just let me do that. All right, let's see what one motor in kind of the eco mode, I guess, will do. Really not bad for just the one motor. 1,000 watts, 29.48 pound-feet of torque. So double that with both motors on. That's 2,000 watts and 60 foot-pounds, just shy of 60 pound-feet. That is a quick bike, but it's got more than that. Awesome, that was a great improvement. 1,366 watts, 36.5 pound-feet of torque. I gotta double those, so that actually means 73 pound-feet of torque and 2,732 watts. So on the board here, this right side is everything under 1,000 watts. This is everything over 1,000 watts. Check this out. It's gonna pass up all of these bikes and put it way higher than I expected, above the Biketrix XD, above the LMX 64, and this is the craziest coincidence. The Romeo Pro 2 and the PowerGo both had 2,732 watts, but the Romeo Pro edges it out on torque with the dual motors at 73 pound-feet versus 61 pound-feet. That makes it one of the most powerful things we've ever seen with pedals. Brakes work pretty good. So, braking is good. The battery is huge. If you ride this thing around in a low power setting, like 20 miles an hour, I mean, this thing's good for 100 miles. But if you're cruising around at like 2,000 watts, I don't know how far you could get. The battery's so big, I don't really want to do a range test, but I'm kind of curious to see how far this thing would go. Check this out. I'm on the highway. Doesn't quite go highway speed, but I bet I'm far enough out. I'm not even gonna get in the bike lane. If anybody questions, I'm just gonna pedal. I normally only go this way if I'm gonna ride a motorcycle and go up some of these windy roads, but this thing moves so well, I thought it'd be fun to try it. Let's see if the motorcycle got waves. Didn't get a wave out of him. All right, 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. This is an uphill grade. I'm doing 37 miles an hour. This is perfect. All right, a little steeper now, but I'm still maintaining 33. 31. Lost a little bit of my steam. Come on. Now that the road's flattened out a little bit, I'm back up to 37. Still a slight uphill. I think that's far enough. This would be an amazing commuter bike if you have back roads drive like me. I get people that want to ride a bike on roads like this where there's not much of a shoulder sometimes. They want to go 40, 35 at least. This will do it. Let's see how fast we can go down the hill. 40. $46. $47. Woo. I'm bringing that camera in a little bit. I can feel it give me a little bit of a speed wobble. There we go. That feels better. All right, this downhill, we're gonna go all out. I was worried, because I've been doing some motorcycle videos lately, that the underwhelming speed of an e-bike would make it less fun. But this thing is a lot of fun. It really is. Thankfully, I've already got a connection to Eahora, and we have like the chopper listed on our website, and we sell it. So I don't see why we can't sell this as well. I kind of want to, because it's so heavy and ridiculous and over the top, but so much fun. I will exercise some caution. So now that I've ridden it once and I've seen what this thing can do, if you're gonna get one of these, don't do what I'm doing right now. Don't wear a bicycle helmet. Get, at a minimum, a full face helmet, preferably a motorcycle helmet, because this thing goes fast enough if you have an accident. And I'm not saying you will, but if, you could really hurt yourself. This thing moves. A lot of e-bikes, I think, are great for teenagers and kids. This one is not. Oh, you know what? I gotta test out the suspension on the gravel. You know, that's not bad. Whew. So I would say rear suspension on those gravel bumps felt really smooth. Front suspension on a hard hit, a little bit of a clunk. I don't know what you can do about that because there's a motor installed there. You know, something I haven't tested to see is how well does an all-wheel drive bike do around my oval track? You know, this doesn't have the acceleration off the line. Well, but this is more about being smooth. Actually, this worked pretty good. All right, let's test the off-road capability. Okay, so obviously Eahora is a company that's willing to do things a little bit different with like the chopper here, and they've done something very different with the Romeo Pro. Here's what I gotta say about off-road. It's kind of heavy, like really heavy, so it can be a little jarring if you get into some really rough stuff. The front suspension doesn't behave all that well, and I think it's because you got this big heavy motor in there. I don't think there's any fix for that. I think that's just how it's going to be. So rear, however, handled quite nice. I don't know why that floated so much better than the front. The derailleur system basically is completely pointless unless you're actually gonna pedal this thing, but it's got so much power, why would you? If you want a bike that can go really fast, go really far, and you do not care about weight or legality, this thing's a ton of fun.